Yo, where my drugs, bitch?
言いました。何かおちんちん大好きですけど。
大好き？
はい。私と同じくらいの年の女の子は。
What was that?
My name is of no importance. All you need to know is that I'm here to set history straight.
But what do you mean?
What I mean, you stupid, filthy, ugly, ignorant casual, is that anime has been going down a very slippery slope these past few years, and I'm here to right it straight. In the downfall of anime.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Nothing. Anyways, this thing is gonna take a while. I gotta start from the very beginning. Move over, I gotta sit down for this shit. Anyways, it all started in 1958. So, I know anime's been around for over 100 years, but I just want to cover the significant ones that have actually influenced anime the most, up to the most recent one, and I'm using that word very sparingly here. So, anyways, to move on with the video, in 1958, the first colored anime movie was produced by Toei Animation. It was trying to become the Disney of Japan at the time. 1963, the first Japanese animation to use what we now know as anime aesthetics was Astro Boy, created by Ashima Tezuka, considered the father of anime. 1965, Kimba, the White Lion, was the first colored TV anime of Japan. It was considered to have been heavily copied by its much successful counterpart, The Lion King. I'll let you decide the similarities. 1966, Mashakati Sally was the first magical girl anime. 1967, the first anime to really become successful in the US was Speed Racer, eventually branched out to have its own spin-off in the West. 1970, Ashito no Joe was the first anime to this day still have its mark left as a true masterpiece. 1971, Lupin III, a franchise that is still active to this day. In 1973, we had two influential animes. We had Geysers 3, which spawned the birth of the mecha genre. Then we had Cutie Honey, which was the first female protagonist of the shonen manga and the pioneer of the ecchi genre as well. 1974, Battleship Yamamoto, a very influential anime at the time. 1974, Hida Girl of the Apes, directed by Ishito Takata with the help of Hayao Mizugaki, future founders of Studio Ghibli. 1979, Dorama, one of the most influential and famous kids anime. It aired for 26 years and was broadcast in many countries. Mobile Suit Gundams, one of the biggest anime franchise to this day. Yurashi Yoshika Taara is a series that gained a lot of popularity and a steadily growing otaku subculture. 1983, Danka opening animation made by future Gainax founders for the 83's Danka science fiction conventions. It featured animation that was way ahead of its time. That same year, Captain Ishiba, one of the best-selling mangas in the 80s, it created formula that later sports anime would use. 1984, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, considered the first Ghibli film. It was the most ambitious anime works of its time. It successfully inspired bigger anime projects. In that same year, Macross Dose, You Remember Love, is part of the science boom, but mixed it with idol music. The 80s were a golden age for idols in Japan. On another side note, the 80s, in my opinion, one of the biggest eras for anime. Continuing, in 1984, Fist of the North Star. By Western influence, the 80s popularized over-muscular heroes with a big legacy. Fist of the North Star is still a popular icon in Japan. And then we get to 1986, Dragon Ball. Doesn't need any introduction. The first anime adaptation of one of the most important anime franchises of all time. In that same year, we had Saint Seiya, another successful franchise that was very popular in Europe and Latin America. 1988, Legend of the Galactic Heroes. In the longest series to this day and often considered one of the greatest anime of all time. In that same year, I'm not even gonna say it, there's so many animes that came out this year. This year was fucking booming. My Neighbor Totoro, Studio Ghibli's mascot to this day. That movie was critically acclaimed by Western media and got a worldwide cult following. Grave of the Fireflies, set during the bombing of Japan in World War II, its level of realism is very uncommon for anime. Akira, the most expensive anime movie of its time and globally acclaimed. Akira made the world create a great interest in anime. 1989, Dragon Ball Z, even being broadcast outside of Japan only years later, it's popularized anime worldwide and continues to get new fans to this day. 1992, Sailor Moon, one of the most important shoujo anime of all time. It helped spread anime to this demographic. In that same year, we had Yu Yu Hakusho, another big series responsible for the spread of anime worldwide, solidified many tropes for the battle shonen anime. In 1995, we had Slayers, consolidating a new aesthetic for anime. Slayers setting is influenced by trending JRPG series like Dragon Quest. In this same year, we had Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's one of the most influential and controversial animes of all time. Then we had Ghost in the Shell, a prominent anime sci-fi fiction series that achieved a cult following and praise from Western directors. 1996, Rurouni Kenshin, another popular anime from Jump Manga. The new life of former assassin gained a popularity worldwide. 1997, Princess Mononoke, another critically acclaimed Ghibli movie, unusually violent for the studio, but pro-environment as usual for the director. In that same year, we had Pokemon, based on the Nintendo game series. A few years later, it would boom around the world, making it a pop culture icon. 1998, Perfect Blue, psychological horror film that was the directorial debut of one of the great anime directors, Satoshi Kon. 1998, Cowboy Bebop, very acclaimed series in the West. This episodic anime blends the multiple genres to achieve a unique feel. 1999, Digimon Adventure. The Pokemon series success created an era of clones using its formula. The early 2000s Digimon became a distinct one. In that same year, we had One Piece, still airing to this day and being published on Jump with consistent success. One Piece is everywhere in Japan. 2000, Love Hina, and an important hit that helped popularize the harem genre romance comedy where a boy can be the love interest of many girls. 2001, Spirited Away, the only Japanese animated film to ever win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, was the highest grossing anime film for a long time. 2002, Naruto, another anime that needs no introduction. Naruto serves as a gateway to anime for an entire generation. 2004, Samurai Champloo, mixing Edo Japan with hip-hop, this anime helped popularize anime in the West. That same year, we also had Bleach, for some time part of the Big Three alongside Naruto and One Piece. 2005, Mushishi, very acclaimed episodic anime. 2006, and I'm just gonna stop right there because there's a fuck ton of 2006 anime, so here we go. Gintama, known for its parodies of other animes and films of Japanese culture. The next one, the Melashiri of I can't pronounce of Harui Shashui. The first great series of young Studio Kyoto animation. It went experimental with its aired order, having 2 possible orders to watch. That same year, we had Paprika, Satoshi Kon's final film before his tragic passing in 2010. Had a distinct soundtrack by Harashi Sho, who usually worked with Kon. 2006, we had our last one on our list for that year, which was Death Note, one of the few animes to break out of the otaku niche barrier. 2007, Toma Tapa Gurren Lagann, the last Gainax anime to be critically acclaimed, praised for its animation, unique plot, and characters. In that same year, we had Naruto Shippuden, directed sequel to Naruto after a time skip. Even with massive fillers, the series continued to be a great success. In that same year, we had Lucky Star, another Kyo anime hit that further popularized the slice of life genre. 2009, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, a new Full Metal Alchemist adaptation, now entirely faithful to the manga and often considered the best anime of all time by fans and websites. I mean, that's their opinion, of course. 2009, Bakae Monogatari, an icon series to Shaft. The Monogatari light novels adaptations are loaded with the studio's avant-garde animation style. 2010, Angel Beats, popular drama music story anime by Jun Manara. 2011, Madoka Magica, presented as a simple magical girl anime. Madoka Magica offers a much darker existential plot, breaking the genre's tropes. That same year, we had Steins Gate. It's one of the most highest reviewed anime on most anime sites. That same year, we had Hunter x Hunter, praised for have one of the best arcs in the history of anime. 2012, Wolf Children. It's one of the most acclaimed films by the famous directors. 2012, Sword Art Online. I'm gonna get shit for this one. One of the most popular animes of the decades, started a wave of isekai anime. 2013, Attack on Titan. With a mysterious plot, intense action scenes, and epic soundtrack, it gained popularity outside of the otaku niche. 2013, Kill la Kill. Important staff of Gainax leave to found Trigger. Its first anime has a distinct hyperactive action and comedy style. 2014, Hayashu, still publishing in Shonen Jump. It's one of the most popular and critically acclaimed modern sports anime. That same year, we had Your Lie in April, a popular teen drama anime involving classical music and gorgeous animation by A1 Pictures. 2015, Dragon Ball Super, part of the recent trend of revival of big old franchise. Even with its controversies in its animation quality, it was a huge hit. That same year, we had One Punch Man. Impressive on a technical standpoint, One Punch Man won over mainstream audiences with great animation and funny superhero parodies. 2017, Black Clover. For its beautiful animation, amazing story arcs, this anime alone has revolutionized the anime industry. And without it, we wouldn't be where we... I'm fucking joking, guys. I'm fucking joking. I'm fucking joking, alright? Let's get on with the real list, alright? 2016, My Hero Academia. Currently one of the most important anime series. It is an acclaimed modern battle shonen. That same year, we had Your Name. Managed to dethrone Spirited Away and turn into the highest grossing Japanese film of all time. 2017, Made in Abyss. A great adaptation by Kamari Citrus and of Satato Ishika, dark web manga. It's easily entered the list of highest rated anime of all time. 2018, Violet Evergarden. With the magnificent quality from KyoAni, this anime helped it secure streaming rights with Netflix. And we have A Place Further Than the Universe, a praised anime of 2018 that went beyond its simple moe visual, being recognized even by New York Times of its best TV shows list. 2019, The Promised Neverland, one of 2019's breakout animes of the year. So I just want to point out real quick that anime, specifically the Japanese animation market, has never been bigger than it is right now, having most of its money come from outside of Japan. And honestly, I don't see that changing anytime soon. So what's up? What's the point of this video? Why so doom and gloom? To answer that question, it's not all about the money. It's about the direction the anime industry as a whole is taking. When I used to watch anime with some of the older series growing up on Toonami late at night, when my parents thought I was asleep, I was exposed to a whole new world of storytelling that the West really wasn't giving us. Shows such as Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, and Dragon Ball Z. These shows, these stories were such a big part of my childhood. And this was before I knew what anime even was. Again, looking back at how things are now, it really hurts me inside to see it taking the direction it is going. So one of the things that really stood out to me when covering the history of anime was just how the progression and throughout the years of like what really defied that generation and what stuck out. And honestly, we've had so little animes that have stood out this past few years, specifically the 2010s all the way up to 2020. The ones that really stood out was Sword Art Online and Demon Slayer. Now look, I like both, but what have they done to help push anime to grow as a medium other than popularize isekai and have another shonen that have really nice visuals? That's it. And I know there has been more anime this last decade, but my point is that compared to other decades, this one has been very lackluster, in my opinion, of course. Some quick points I want to hit that I've kind of hit in my other videos is the overuse of CGI. For better or worse, when anime studios made the switch to go digital back in the 80s, it wasn't bad. Productions like Ghost in the Shell used it to take animation to a whole new level, and others used it in more experimental ways. But now it seems like it's an industry standard to just use it to throw CGI crowds in their anime productions. Talk about being lazy and cutting corners. Such a shame. Imagine what could have been. Here's another one. Too many damn shows each season. All this does is water down the quality of the shows. One of the reasons why we have more hits back in the day was there wasn't this focus on quantity over quality. Now let me ask you a question. Do you want to be an animator? Do you want to work for the Japanese animation studios like Madhouse, A1 Pictures, or MAPPA? If your answer is yes, better make do with getting paid an income that doesn't even meet your basic needs. Oh, and be prepared to work 70 to 80 hours a week minimum if you want to keep that job. This is Japan after all, bitch. We work until we die over here. But to be serious, this type of environment for any animator is so toxic. It's so off-putting. Like, any inspiring animator would just get turned off from pursuing their goals in this industry, just based on the conditions, and this will eventually blow up in their faces. Back when the industry was still new and trying to find its footing, the animation scene was insane. We had projects that were so weird that they didn't target one audience, but in doing so targeted everyone, which is why we had so many mature animations back in the 70s and 80s. It was great, but like any industry, it matured, and over time, it did find an audience, and it started to pander to that audience. So do you ever wonder why so many anime take place in a high school setting, or the main protagonist is a teenage boy? Well, that's the audience that the animation industry is targeting, and why so many anime are centered around these stories types. But recently, it seems that the industry has noticed that a large portion of its audience is not in high school anymore. So I'm seeing more shows with characters that aren't little bitchy kids, and that's about friendship anymore, thankfully. And this is a small one, but ever heard the phrase anime is meant to promote the product? Well, highlighting this next issue is really does mean that. So I'm watching the God of High School when the opening you see a fucking literal ad for Crunchyroll and the anime webtoons. Like, what the fuck, really? Why? How did we get here where there's fucking ad placements in our literal fucking animes? Like, is this fucking gonna be a thing now? I know the King's Avatar does this with fucking their fucking show, but seriously, it just leaves a fucking bad taste in my mouth. Just like when I eat fucking McDonald's. So this is kind of why I'm making this video. Is not because of the things I previously said. They are issues that the anime industry have to work out, but this right here can honestly change anime for the worse. And I'm not overstating things here. So Tencent is one of the world's biggest companies. It owns League of Legends, has stakes in Epic Games, Ubisoft, and Activision Blizzard, to name a few, and recently it has turned its head to Japan's animation industry, which is bad news, and here's why. Tencent is a Chinese company, not to be racist or anything. The problem here with being a Chinese company is that to operate in China, you have to follow the rules that the Communist Party set there. That means extreme amount of censorship, which it has a few controversies involving censorship of politically sensitive content in the past. And that's why I'm worried, because if they enter the industry like they want to, who knows how many anime projects will be censored in pre-production, or how many manga or light novel will never get an anime adaptation just because of politically sensitive material. Thankfully, the industry has resisted any offers and hasn't allowed Tencent to gain a footing there. The creators are voicing their concerns with the company trying to get involved, because at the end of the day, it's about freedom to express yourself and create something special, which is why I think the animation industry in Japan has been able to thrive up until now, because it just doesn't give a fuck. Unlike the West in China, where censorship is a thing. If it is offensive or someone is too political for the ruling party, they will censor you.
I thought this was America! Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America!
Japan has always pushed forward, ignoring calls to censor its content in favor of creative freedom. And that to me is why anime is special. Not for the anime titties or waifus. They're great of course, but for the stories and ideas that the creators presented in such a way that just had me wanting more. So there are a lot of issues that the anime industry has to work out, and it can all seem kind of overwhelming at times. But if I'm being kind of optimistic here, if the anime industry really wants to reach a new level of awesomeness, it has to get through these tough times. And like all industries, they go through the good and the bad times. Well, just the bad right now, but I wouldn't even say bad, just more of a stagnative state right now, where there's nothing new or really no one's trying to innovate right now. But this next decade will really tell us if the good times are just around the corner or we're in for some fucked up shit. Who knows? But that's just my 2 cents on the issue.
And that's the downfall of anime and the history of how we got here.
So is there anything we can do to make things better, to get them to how they used to be?
There are some things. These are just some of the growing pains of going mainstream as a medium. But as a consumer, you can be aware of what you're doing. Be aware that, just casuals are shit in general, and try to become better than a casual. But that's almost asking for too much.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel like I've really learned something today.
Just doing my job as a good person. Anyways, I'm off.
Wait, where are you going? The door's over here.
I have my methods.
Attention, we interrupt your regular broadcast for this important announcement. Convicted murderer and psychopath Flo has broken out of the Pennsylvania State Insane Asylum. If you see this man, please contact your local authorities immediately.
Oh my god!
Smoke weed every day.